All right, people, good morning. Seattle Seahawks play in about 25 hours. Got I'm not going to say the most compelling game in the world. I'm not going to say it's even the fourth most important game remaining on the Seahawks schedule. In fact, let's just go ahead and cut to the chase there. What I'm trying to say is this is kind of like the calm before the storm. The four games after this, high stakes, very intriguing, very compelling. This one feels more like, okay, got to go get it over with, got to go do the thing, got to go get the win, and then we got to go move on. But still a game, still a football game, still a chance to prove stuff, still a chance to put up those numbers, and still a chance to make yourself look like one of the best teams in the league. So, Seahawks, Falcons, let's talk about it a little bit. Um, yeah, it's not the game I thought we'd be getting before the season. All right, everybody, before we go any further, let's get some picks in over on Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy football this year, you are missing out. Check out the left side of your screen. Look at all the fun stuff you can get up to over there. Look at all these mores or lesses that you can pick. Let's put our entry together for this week. I've got JSN scoring an anytime touchdown. Didn't happen last week, but I'm feeling a bounce back this week. I got Chase Brown getting at least 52 rushing yards against the Bills. I got Achane getting at least 78 rushing yards against the Jets. And I've got the under on Gentil rushing yards at 53 and a half. So get on over to Sleeper, put your entries together. They can look just like this. Remember to use the promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. Go have some fun and experience sports the way they were meant to be. So this Falcons team, we're going on the road, and immediately when I think about playing the Falcons in Atlanta, I think playing in that dome. If Atlanta has any kind of a notable offense, it's going to be a shootout. It's so much easier to score points and move the ball in that dome. I just think to myself, man, that team, they're putting up 30. I just hope my team can put up 32. So that's initially where my mind goes. It's not where my mind is going for this game because this Falcons offense, I mean, obviously they've been better at home, but I don't know if they've been good. And in the state they're in right now, they're probably more bad than good. In fact, they might be really bad. So I don't think the dome can save them. So right off the bat, defense, go take care of it. This thing really started in the offseason before not the offseason, but the preseason. Caleb McGarry goes down, injured, misses the whole season. Hopefully he comes back next year, but Atlanta, they built this offensive line up. And I know they let Drew Dahlman go. Maybe they regret that right now, but they get Michael Penix, a quarterback who is talented, but you don't want to let him ever get touched. You don't want him to ever get hit. And then you lose your stud right tackle before the season even starts. So right away, it's like, well, so much for that. Our tremendous plan to keep Penix clean in the pocket, yeah, already kind of blown up a little bit. And then the season starts, and it's not all bad, right? It's not all bad, but you've got a passing attack that is Drake London and not really that much else that you can depend on. Drake London getting a ton of targets, getting a ton of catches. He's great. But other than that, you've got checkdowns to Bejon, and you've got Kyle Pitts, who knows from day to day, from game to game, from play to play, what you're going to get, not realizing his potential at all. And yeah, that's kind of their offense. They run the ball statistically effectively, but the way in which they choose to run the ball is actually surprisingly ineffective in a weird way, if that makes sense. And as the season's gone on, of course, Penix has gotten hurt, which is not shocking, especially when you're not protecting him as well as you were hoping. And now they don't even have Drake London, so it's Darnell Mooney, it's like I said, Kyle Pitts, basically their second receiver, and then what else? Nothing really. And That's kind of it. That's the tail of the tape here. They got Kirk Cousins out there, and I'll give Kirk Cousins some credit. I thought he looked good last week. I thought he looked real good against the Jets. He looks much better than he did last year. Last year, he looked like he just couldn't figure out his lower body, couldn't figure out his footwork, couldn't figure nothing out. This year, yeah, he actually looks a little like an actual NFL quarterback. And last year, a Seahawks defense that really wasn't playing that good at the time went into Atlanta and beat up Cousins because it's just not that hard to play against a quarterback who is that fundamentally and mechanically unsound. But I don't think we're going to get that same Kirk Cousins experience in this game, but I still wouldn't exactly expect him to light the world on fire, especially when you're working with this very lackluster set of receivers. So get after Cousins. He's got no mobility, right? You get to him, you hit him, he's just going to go down. And the running game, look, Bejon's going to put up numbers. Bejon pretty much always gets his numbers. The Atlanta rushing attack has actually been very mediocre at converting their rushing success into scoring. They are like 18th in the league in rushing EPA per play, I think, which is comical and really unacceptable. And a couple different reasons why. I think the main reason is that their passing attack hasn't been good enough to really complement it, and that reduces the effectiveness a little bit. But it's also an offense that is completely obsessed with outside runs, getting Bejon outside the hashes and getting him into space, which I love getting Bejon into space, but they run outside zone so much that it's kind of become predictable. And I think teams kind of jump on it a little bit. And when they do run between the hashes, when they do run power, it's mostly because they're giving the ball to Tyler Algier, their power back, their hammer back. So they're predictable based on their personnel pre-snap. And that's not something you want to be. That's why these Seahawks, people sometimes ask, why do we keep running outside zone and pitch plays with Charbonnet? Because we don't want to be predictable. We'd rather have some dead plays than be predictable. Falcons have decided they're okay with being predictable, and look where they are. So even though I know Bejon will get his, unless we jump on Atlanta like 28-0 and they have to pass the whole game, I don't think it's going to spell too much success for that offense because they don't have the passing game to complement it, and their rushing attack is not, Kyle Shanahan must be sick watching this rushing attack. He must think about what he could do if he had a guy like Bejon and an offense like this in a stadium like this. He must be sick watching how predictable this Atlanta rushing attack is. It's like they're wasting Bejon even though he's getting his yards. So this defense, the way they're playing right now, I think Cousins is going to be meeting a wave of pass rushers, play after play after play, and that should be it. Opportunity to force some turnovers in there as well. And with no Drake London, how are they going to punish you? Maybe stack the box. Maybe send some crazy blitzes. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. They don't really have an answer. They do not have a counter. Drake London, he's a guy who you just throw the ball up to in one-on-one and hope it works out. You're not going to get that with Darnell Mooney. So I'm feeling great about that side of the ball. And then you got the other side. Atlanta's defense, interesting unit. They love to blitz. They blitz more than almost anybody. It's a little bit more of a traditional blitzing team. Like last week we played the Vikings. They love to blitz too. But there are so many little intricacies in the way the Vikings blitz. It's so hard to deal with because it's so rare. Falcons, I think a little bit more typical in how they blitz. And because of that, I actually have a decent amount of confidence that this offense is going to be able to take advantage because for the most part this year, when opposing defenses have stacked the box and blitzed, this offense has been able to punish them with plays downfield to JSN. Now, we do have to be a little bit careful here, Atlanta. I like their secondary. You've got some good corners, and you've got some great safeties. Jesse Bates has been good for them. Maybe not as high profile as he was in Cincinnati, but he's still been very good. And then they got Xavier Watts at the other safety spot. He's been nice for him. Liked him in college, like him in the pros now. So you can't just throw it up to JSN and assume everything's going to work out. They are going to push you a little bit with that secondary. So be careful, but there should be some opportunities to hit plays down the field with the way Atlanta likes to blitz. And they're all about getting pressure with a bunch of different guys. Nobody on that Falcons defense is going to have more than 10 sacks this year, but they're going to be near the league lead in sacks because it comes from everywhere. They get a little bit from Brandon Dorless. They get a little bit from Onyemata. They get a little bit from Caden Ellis, a little bit from James Pierce, a little bit from Leonard Floyd. It's actually pretty cool. It's the one thing about this Falcons team that I really like. They get after the quarterback without having one dominant pass rusher. A little like Seattle, but they spread it out even a little bit more than we do, and they're blitzing a lot to get it. Now, I say all that. They're not going to have Brandon Dorless, and they may not have Onyemata, and they may not have James Pierce, but I imagine they're still going to send pressure. So I'm excited to see how Darnold takes advantage. Sometimes taking advantage may be as simple as hitting checkdowns, which is something that the Seahawks team didn't do against the Rams, and they took about a half to really start doing against the Vikings. So it'd be interesting to see how Kubiak adjusts after seeing the struggles of the game plan in those two games compared to many other games they played this year. But when I think about this game, I come back to the running game because Atlanta, they can't stop the run. This whole year, they have been one of the worst teams in the league against the run. And the way Seattle's offense is progressing, this should be a good opportunity for them to show how much their running game has improved. So, run the ball this week. K9, Charbonnet, Cam Akers gets out there. If I don't know, you want to give the ball to Robbie Oots once or twice, you want to run it with JSN, I don't care. But they have not shown the ability to stop the run this year. They have no meat in the middle. They've got basically a couple of 3-techs out there at any given time on the defensive line. They don't have a true run stuffer. They're the inside linebacker that they were hoping would be their main guy going forward, Anderson, can't stay healthy, so they've got backups on the interior. And they're not terrible players or anything like that, but they're not the guys that Atlanta was hoping they'd have this year. So therefore, I think that you run the ball, you're going to have success. You look at what the Colts did to the Falcons in I think it was the Berlin game. They ran for over 300 yards in that game, grinded it out. You look at what the Panthers were able to do to this Falcons team, grind it out. And it may not be as flashy, it may not be as fun as throwing deep shots to JSN all game, but guess what? It's the right thing to do, and it's going to be more meaningful when we get to the end of the year and we're not playing games in a dome. Like, you could probably get away with flinging it around the stadium in a game like this, but when you're playing games at home in potentially inclement or bad weather, when you're potentially playing a game on the road in San Francisco, Green Bay, Chicago, you're going to need that running game. So continue to build on it, continue to figure it out, and I could see this being a game where Seattle runs for 200. And if they can do that, I think there's going to be a lot of confidence that we're headed in the right path. And with all these injuries Atlanta has, as long as we don't turn it over, should be kind of like that Minnesota game. Probably not as extreme. Same idea, though. You don't turn it over. You don't give them easy points. It's going to be hard for them to score that much because the things they have depended on, the things that they were planning to depend on this season, they're not there right now. Because Drake London's out, I'm going to go something like 31-13. I was going to go 31-20, but with no Drake London, the more I think about it, I don't see how they get to 20, even in that stadium. So 31-13, I'm feeling good. I think we're all feeling pretty good. Let's just get in there, get the win. Can't be messing around with a trap game right now. I know people talk about the trap game, but this team can't have a trap game right now. One loss could make so much of your effort over the next couple of next month really be wasted. All right, that's it. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think. That's how I'm feeling. Let's go get this win. Let's go get to 10 wins, basically lock up a playoff spot, and move to the last month.